Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Motorhead Garage is presented by DragonFireTools.com. All right, Motorheads, forget everything you know about bump stops. Well, you're already done? That's right, because nobody thinks about bump stops. A lot of people don't even know what they are. So Curtis, explain to me what a bump stop is and how it works.
The bump stop's intention is to prevent the shocks from overcompressing. Most bump stops are frame mounted, and as the suspension travels upwards, they'll make contact with this. And from the factory, the only intention is to prevent metal-to-metal contact. For most on-road applications, it's sufficient. Toyota puts this void in their rubber bump stop to give it a little bit of progression. But the truth is, it still feels rock hard on impact and not very efficient.
So you're not hitting metal, but it feels like you are.
Yes.
With the OEM. So you've improved on that here at Durabumps. Explain how yours is different than the OEM.
Well, our bump stop is slightly taller than the OEM bump stop, with the intention of it compressing under load to slow the up-travel inertia prior to providing the ultimate stop. Most of our customers don't realize they've engaged the bump stop because we're doing such a good job slowing down that wheel travel, and it really provides smooth, progressive engagement and dampening.
Well, how do you do that?
Well, all of our bump stops are made with several different layers of rubber that are a different durometer. Durometer is the firmness or softness of rubber. This particular bump stop has 3 layers of rubber in it, and that's what allows our solid mass of rubber to compress more similar to a coil spring.
Very cool. And this is sort of the OEM replacement. And let's look at the front one too. This is pretty laughable. This is what you'd see on the stock vehicle behind us. This is what we took off. And it's not really budging at all. It's kind of like a door stop, and that's it. So explain how that's different from the stock.
Yes. So this bump stop is slightly taller than the OEM bump stop, but it'll actually compress down to the same height, just like our rears do. Up front on these Toyota platforms, this guy's doing magic. You notice this in town, driving across railroad tracks, potholes. This will save your shocks from overcompressing and damaging them. A lot of our customers invest into aftermarket suspension, spend a few $1,000s on their shocks, but there's no insurance for that shock. Durabumps are insurance that protect your shock, protect your investment from overcompressing, which prematurely blows out the shock seals.
Now, this is for the Toyota. Is everything you make model specific?
Yes. Currently, we have all Toyota vehicle applications from Land Cruiser 80s, 100s, 200s. We've got the Lexus GX, LX platforms. We have all the late model 4Runners, Tacomas. We do everything in-house, from making our molds, CAD design, all of our testing. All of our products are purchased in America. Everything is made 100% in Phoenix, Arizona.
Very cool. What are some of the things you're considering for each make and model that you're putting these on when you're designing it?
Well, that's a great question. On the front of these Toyota applications, we don't have too much shock to work with, shock stroke. So we only offer a single size for the front. If we were to offer extended sizes, that would make a dangerous road condition, as we're not having enough dampening with the shocks prior to the bump stop engaging, and you're pretty much pogo sticking off of your bump stop, which is very dangerous.
Yeah.
But for the rear of the trucks, we have a lot more shock travel to work with. So we offer a equivalent of a OEM bump stop with a 2-inch spacer. And for a taller shock option, we also offer a 5 1/4 inch, which is the equivalent of a 3-inch spacer with your OEM bump stop. And the intentions of the different heights are to accommodate all the available shock lengths sold for these platforms.
Well, if you go with Durabumps, you're going to save your shocks from some damage. If they happen to bottom out, you're going to save all kinds of other parts on your car, because there's going to be less shock happening when you're on the trail. You can find them at Durabumps.com. Get a more comfortable ride, get a safer ride, and perform better with Durabumps. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, so keep it right here.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. And by Campbell's Custom Care, your detail specialist.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. If you've got a flatbed, maybe a camper, a cargo trailer, it's probably got electric brakes on it. And Byron, if you have electric brakes, what do you need to make it work?
You have to have a brain to talk to them. You have to have a brake control.
And brake controls are sometimes built into the truck, built into the vehicle. Kind of traditionally, the way, if they're not built in, is you stick something up under the dash, and that can make things complicated, especially when it comes to hooking up. How difficult can that be?
A lot of vehicles have the harnesses in already, but if you don't have it, you do have to get into the vehicle wiring. It's invasive, can be expensive. You have to have a 12-volt line run through the vehicle out to the plug. You know, anymore with the complexity of some of the vehicles with electronics, computer systems, a lot of people don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that, so that means I need an auto brake. So tell me how auto brake has solved the problem of having to do all that complicated wiring and labor-intensive stuff.
So we've taken everything that would be an electric brake control, we put it in one box, and we put it on the trailer, taking everything out of the vehicle. All the trailers that have electric brakes, they're going to have 5 wires, brake, power, ground, and lights. And those are on all the electric brake trailers, so you just match these with the corresponding wires on the trailer. This can mount anywhere. Most people go right on the frame, but the beauty of it is you can mount it any angle. You can get creative, put it in a cabinet, put it under a toolbox, put it really wherever you like. And once it's on there, it's monitoring itself 100% of the time while you're towing. It's waiting for a trigger. The trigger's brake lights, so when the brake lights apply, the unit says, I need to stop, same way the vehicle's stopping.
You say it the same way. If I'm jamming on the brakes, it's going to mimic what's going on inside my...
Correct. It's called proportional braking, so it's going to do just what you're doing with the vehicle with the braking.
And why is it so much easier to hook up when it's on the trailer? How do the wires connect there for the uninitiated?
So for someone like me, I only have 5 wires, and they're pretty easy to diagnose. We always tell people don't rely on color codes, though, rely on function. But you've got a brake line, you've got your power, your tail lights, and a ground. And so you match those up accordingly, you're good. Most of those trailers have a junction box on the trailer tongue, so you can access them easily, but they can be anywhere. I had a camper where I had one under the seat inside the dinette area.
But you can still put this in there because it would know it as its home.
You
and
can,
be all set to go.
exactly, yeah, and that's one of the nice things, the versatility of it.
And now I think you need to run a 12-volt line from the tow vehicle to make everything work. So how do you manage that?
So your power on there is going to run off your 12-volt line on the trailer. If you don't have a vehicle that has 12-volt power, and this is the market that's kind of gravitated towards us, a lot of these people are towing these teardrop trailers, these small single axle. They're towing them with a smaller vehicle that only has a 4-way flat plug. That does not have a 12-volt line. So if you're going to use any other controller, you have to have that installed, except with this. And what you can do, there's a couple of options. Most vehicles, you can run this wire on the trailer over to lights. Most vehicles will work just by turning on your lights manually. That'll give this power, and it works just the same.
Once it's installed, then how do we calibrate it? How do we show it how to work?
Great question. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out where your wires are, right, and plug all that in. And then secondly, you're going to calibrate it. You're going to hold these 2 buttons on. That light's going to flutter just the way it did. And now it understands this is my new home. This is level.
So it's bolted down and level and...
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, and you can mount it anywhere you want. After that, you'll select your setting, and you could go 1, 2, and 3 axle. They're all weight-based, but I always tell people it's easy to remember. Single axle, I'm going to go on setting 1. Double axle, I'll go on setting 2. And you do that by one person either holding the brakes down, or you can use your hazard lights, time it to that. You can hold that button down for a second, and right now it's showing it's on setting 1. It's going to blink a series of 3 times. I'm going to change it up to setting 2, same thing. Now it's on setting 2, it's blinking 2 times, 3 times in a row. Once you do that, you're set. It's on setting 2. Comes with this key fob, and the key fob does 2 things. Let's say I loan you my trailer and you're driving, you want maybe a little bit more braking force. While you're driving and braking, you can go plus or minus within that setting. So you're holding the brakes down, push +1, push +2. That will go up or down accordingly.
Which is great for overlanders who are going over rough terrain. You don't want your trailer passing you.
Great,
So you want to
yeah.
increase the brake pressure on
response,
that.
yeah. And they might be, crawling over some pretty nasty things, or they just want to apply the trailer brakes but not the vehicle brakes, and that's what this will allow you to do as well. So while you're driving and not braking, you'll hold any or all those buttons down, and that's going to apply your trailer brakes, and it'll feel like a slow ABS. It'll be like a thump, 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 thump. You get some trailer sway, that'll straighten your trailer out. One other feature of the fob, Dave, when you're hooking your trailer up, if you want to make sure everything's powered up okay, you could hit any of those buttons, that LED light will come on so you know it's communicating to your brakes.
Cool. And what if I switch from one vehicle to another and the one I switch to already has a brake controller on it?
This will go into a sleep mode the very first time you push the brake pedal to put that vehicle in drive, because it'll pick up on that signal coming from the other brake unit.
When it comes to working with electric brakes, the Auto Brake does all the work for you. Super simple. It's going to make your towing a lot safer. You can find it at getautobrake.com. There's a W in there. Don't forget that. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com right around the corner. And oh, by the way, Motorhead of the Week on the way. You don't want to miss that.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Campbell's Custom Care Studio.
This is Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. And this is a cell phone, of course. We all have them, and you're a motorhead, so I know you love to be in your car. So what do you do with your phone when you're in your car? You've got a lot of options, right? You can put it on the magnet on the dash. That's on your vent. It's going to block your vent in the summertime. That's a bad deal. In the wintertime, it's going to fry your phone. And you can put it in your cup holder. You can put it on your lap. But, of course, you know you're going to drive it. It's going to fall into the crack there, and you'll never see it again. And half of the states, Scott, in the union don't allow you to hold it in your hand anyway, and that's a bad idea. So what's my solution? What can I do?
So you put it in a cell phone seat. Cell phone seat is the newest device on the market. It is a single piece of plastic that's got a flexible base. All you gotta do is flex this and pop it in your cup holder and release it. It's gonna lock in there, and then guess what? Now you're legally hands-free. You can just drop your phone in there like that. You can also go horizontal. You got power cord access here, and here's the best part. Cell phone seat does not block your cup holder. You still have room for your drink.
Whoa, that is cool. And it's so simple. Why didn't somebody think of this before?
I don't know. It was exactly the same with me. I was driving in my neighborhood in my truck. I threw my phone in my cup holder like most people do, and it landed in some kind of a goo, from my kid's squeeze pack. And I pulled my phone out, and I was kind of annoyed, and I thought, why isn't there a better solution? And kind of this idea popped in my head, and I went home to look for it. You go home and you look online, and I was like, this has to exist. It didn't exist. I couldn't figure out why. So I decided to draw it out, much to my wife's dismay, as she's looking over my shoulder saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, I got an idea. So I drew it out. I found actually a designer that could do 3D AutoCAD type designs, and we 3D printed them just to test it out. And I got the first one I remember that was 3D printed, and it was huge. It was like this big. And the guy that was kind of helping me with the designs felt bad. He's like, I messed it up, it's too big. I was like, no, send it, let me see it. I need to know if this works. Sure enough, I put the big one in my cup holder. Even though it was giant, it worked perfectly. So we kept going, and as you can see now, we have the final version. It took about 6 years to actually get this just right. But now we have a universal cell phone mount that fits in about 90% of vehicle cup holders, holds pretty much any phone, phones with cases, any type of phone, phones with accessories, pop sockets, loopies, doopies, sloopies, whatever you got. This one simple device is going to work for most everything.
What are some of the little extras you put a lot of thought into to keep the phone in place there?
Sure. So the first thing we did was we cut out these side slots here, and that's going to allow you to put your phone in there horizontal. Interestingly enough, it also works with tablets in that horizontal slot. We put this in my son's cup holder on his car seat, and he can put his iPad in there for long road trips. We put a flexible tab here that's going to put a little pressure on the phone, so it's going to hold phones in there, phones without cases, smaller phones, it's going to hold those in a little bit tighter. And then it also can flex back when you have bigger cases like this. This is an iPhone 14 Pro with a wallet on it. It's going to be able to flex back and hold those in there as well. Those bigger cases with OtterBox cases, it's going to be able to push that tab back and hold that in as well. We have power cord access here, so obviously people want to be able to charge their phone in the car. And I like the fact that this sits in your cup holder. Your power cord is staying down here to the side. A lot of newer cars have those flexible tabs in their cup holders, or those rubber kind of squares. So we cut the slots out here to allow those tabs to go right in there, and they work great. It's so fun to put this in when you have those spring little tabs in here that just click in place like it's meant for it. But that doesn't mean that you need those tabs. It's going to work with cup holders without the tabs or without the rubber things as well. It's going to work in a lot of different cup holder styles, as long as they're between about 2.5 to 4 inches in round, which pretty much
Most of them are, right?
Most of them are.
You put so much thought into the design. How much thought did you put into the materials that you're using as well?
We talked about doing, different types of plastics. We talked about doing different types of materials like rubber. We landed on ABS plastic, which is the same thing that Legos are made out of. It's a very non-toxic, safe plastic, right? Because kids play with it. And if you've ever stepped on a Lego in the middle of the night, you know how strong ABS plastic is.
Guilty as charged.
This is a very strong, well-made device. It's going to work in extreme heat. It's going to work in, extreme cold. It's a very universal material.
It's a veteran-owned company. The product is made in America, and this is going to make things a lot safer and more convenient for you when you're behind the wheel. It is called the Cell Phone Seat. You can find it at cellphoneseat.com. And you can find more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com just around the corner. And don't forget, Motorhead of the Week coming up.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. And by Centromatic, industry leader in wheel balancing technology.
At rockauto.com, you can find all the parts your car will ever need and at reliably low prices, including CV axles from FVP. And of course, CV stands for constant velocity. Sherry, what are some of the signs that my CV axle might be going bad?
Popping and clicking when turning, clonking when accelerating, as well as growling and humming, and maybe a split or cracked CV boot. All of those things could indicate you need a new CV axle.
And of course, the CV boot holds in all the grease, so when that goes, you're going to need a new CV axle. So when I choose one, why should I go onto rockauto.com and choose FVP?
Easy. They're made to match the original OE attributes, and they're designed to reduce NVH, which is noise, vibration, and harshness.
You know, it's an ever-evolving world when it comes to CV axles and a lot of components on vehicles. So what are some of the things that are trending when it comes to CV axles?
Drivetrains, especially on SUVs and crossovers, because they're more powerful and complex, even more so than 10 years ago. Some OE design improvements and CV axle technology include AAR sockets that help to reduce NVH. An AAR socket is an angular adjusted roller, and it accompanies the standard tripod socket design. Some European applications use an 8-ball socket design. You get better strength and durability with those. Also, many of these applications use a flat spline design to help reduce NVH. And I know I'm talking about noise, vibration, and harshness a lot, but it's one of the biggest complaints from customers. And now, many OE axles incorporate a hollow tube design to help reduce torque steer under hard acceleration.
How does it do that?
So torque steer, of course, you know, is when you're doing a hard acceleration and the car pulls right or left. The hollow design, it's flexy, it's bendable, it absorbs the energy, whereas before with one that's solid, it doesn't absorb that energy, and so you get that boom.
What are some of the things I should consider when I'm buying a new CV axle?
So make sure the replacement CV axle includes all new OE quality materials like neoprene or thermoplastic elastomer or TPE dust boots, plus stainless steel clamps. All that better protects against deformation, stretching, and corrosion.
A lot of technology goes into these, so how is FVP evolving with the industry?
So all FVP new premium CV axles, they follow continuous evolving OE design trends that ensure that our CV axle assemblies have the same OE properties to help restore OE performance and durability.
You can be sure that axles from FVP are at the top of the heap when it comes to technology and evolution, and you can find them at rockauto.com.
Vehicle engines are chock full of technology today. And you know what the common denominator is? Well, most of them use oil to get the job done. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. It's all about the new technology. Let's start right here with VVT, variable valve timing. This is pretty cool. So you can see this engine right here is a dual overhead cam, and this one actually has a variable valve timing, but it's driven by oil pressure. Check this out. I went and took one apart for you guys. You can see it right here. Now what happened, these little wipers with oil pressure are gonna move. The camshaft, well, it's connected here and the timing's connected there. So when it moves, watch this. Bam. With oil pressure, mind you, you're going to go ahead and vary that timing. That's one technology. There's plenty more. Right here you can see I actually have an oil-driven timing or chain belt drive right here. This is actually a pressure tensioner that's going to hold tension on those belts and chains with oil pressure. You don't have oil pressure, the right pressure, man, you could jump some time and you can bend a valve, not a good thing. Another one, direct injection right here. Direct injector pump, even on gasoline direct injection, up to 3,000 to 6,000 PSI. It takes a monster amount of pressure to go ahead and push that in. Once again, oil has to lubricate that. Now you probably heard of displacement on demand. Chevy trucks use a lot of this. You can see this right here. Actually diverts the actual oil from certain lifters to cancel cylinders out so you can get better gas mileage. All of it's oil driven. You can see right here. It all started back with VTEC. VTEC actually used a big rocker arm and oil pressure to drive it. And there's our variable valve timing. Man, oil with new technology. Goes hand in hand today, doesn't it, Len?
It is. And one of the things we're talking about here, we've talked, you know, we've got many, many different viscosities, but what we're looking for in this particular one, when we look at all of these different technologies, is consistency. Oil is affected by temperature, and it's directly related to oil pressure. and we need consistency. So building the oil properly, using the right additives, using the right base oils, most importantly, provide the consistency that you need to operate all of these different technologies the way that they're designed.
And that's the key word there. If you want to make sure your car's running at optimal performance and using the technology that it has on your vehicle, well, check them out on the website at amsoil.com.
Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to be Motorhead of the Week, but it doesn't hurt if you are a rocket scientist either. Jeff Fox is an engineer at NASA, and he has been for 39 years. And when he's not working on real rocket ships, well, he's working on his own rocket ship at home. It's a spot-on replica of a 1967 Shelby GT500. Jeff found a genuine 67 fastback in 2001, and he put it on a rotisserie for a complete restoration. And he tells me this car is a project that will never stop evolving. And the power plant has been through a few different iterations since he got the car. At the moment, you can find a 427 under the hood that's making about 720 horsepower. He says the engine bottom end will handle 1,500 horsepower. So stay tuned for more updates, because this guy knows all about power, both in space and on the ground. He is Jeff Fox, our Motorhead of the Week. And if you or someone you know should be Motorhead of the Week, drop us a note, motorheadgarage.tv, and tell us why. That is also the same website you want to go to if you have a product you want to see here on our show. From our crew here at Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, we'll see you next time. So long, and drive safely.